Hello beautiful people, and welcome to your little astrological hybrid video. This one is recorded exactly on the day of the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo we experienced early this morning, and also on a free portal. So I'm going to be pulling some cards from the decks that I normally use for the portal videos. Also, because this video is coming out a little bit later than I intended, I am going to be extending my eclipse sale until Sunday. So my eclipse offering will be there and available for you to book with if you wish to or intend to do so until Sunday, and then I will change the price on Monday next week, because as I mentioned, I intended to record this video earlier than today on the day of the actual eclipse, but things are happening. So, I feel that now really getting into this age of Aquarius deeper and deeper now with Saturn, Neptune in a new phase conjunction in a sign of Aries, it really is about expect unexpected, and don't try to get too comfortable with your plans and routines. So this is something that I'm personally learning and trying to get used to, that I might have an intention, this is when I want to record, this is when I want to do things, but then life happens. So here we go. So anyway, we're going to be talking about the Virgo lunar eclipse, which, as I mentioned, peaked this morning. For me here in Vallarta, it was at 5:37 a.m. and this is Central Standard Time, right? And so whenever that was for you, that's when it happened, but it already happened. Exact. This was an illumination of the moon, Virgo New Moon, which was also an eclipse that got seeded on September 21st, 2025, and that was on 29 degrees. I think the eclipse actually was on 28:59, something like that. And we had double new moon in Virgo last year, let me remind you. So we had also new moon in Virgo on 22nd or 23rd of August. That's when it happened for me last year in 2025. And that one was on 0 degrees. So I remember at the time I mentioned this was the Alpha and the Omega. And at the time of the first new moon in Virgo, which was in August, we had already Saturn, Neptune in Aries, retrograde, Uranus in the sign of Gemini, not yet retrograde, Pluto was retrograde in Aquarius. And then during the second one, Saturn was already back in the sign of Pisces, Neptune still on the anuretic 0 degrees of Aries, and Uranus was still in Gemini, but retrograde. At the moment, 3-3 portal here, we have Saturn, Neptune both at this, in the sign of Aries, as I mentioned, in a new phase conjunction, because they already had the exact conjunction on the 20th of February, and this is starting a new cycle that's going to be evolving over the next 3.5 decades. And then Uranus is still in the sign of Taurus until April 25th, currently on 2747, which is the 9/11. This eclipse happened on the south node in Virgo, still on this 8 degrees 59 minutes as we speak. And and the eclipse was actually, the moon was being sextiled by Jupiter and sun was being trined by Jupiter, which is a very supportive aspect. Obviously, sun being in the sign of Pisces, this is a second decan, 12 degrees 53 minutes for the full moon in Virgo. So this is a second decan of Pisces, which of course is the Cancer. What are we doing? We're creating a new sense of the new sense of self is becoming illuminated slowly but surely. Sorry about my lack of verbiage today. Obviously, it is Mercury retrograde hitting us in different degrees. For me, Mercury retrograde always hits me fast. So here we go. And of course, Mercury also is still in the trine with Jupiter. There are multiple ones of those, 3 to be exact, because Mercury is retrograde, right? And Mercury will continue to be retrograde until 20th of this month, and will leave his post-retrograde shadow on April 9th, which will be technically in between the lunation. It will be in between the full moon in Libra, which will be on April 1st, and then we'll have the new moon in Aries quite late on April 17th, I believe. All right, so what else is going on here? Of course, Mars is now in the sign of Pisces. So even though Saturn, Neptune are in the sign of Aries, so you might feel like, oh yeah, let's go. Mars is in the sign of Pisces, so it's like, okay, well, how does this feel to us, right? Also, Jupiter is still retrograde until March 10th, so we are still reevaluated, we are still digesting, like as we've been since November 11th when Jupiter stationed retrograde. And then also we still have this ongoing sextile between Pluto and Neptune and Pluto and Saturn, not yet exact, but coming into that point, I believe, at the end of the month for Saturn. Neptune, I think we might have to wait a while. I don't have all the numbers and the dates in my head, unfortunately, not able to maintain all this information at the present state. And also, slowly but surely, Chiron is preparing for his entrance into the sign of Taurus, which will take place in June. So, yeah, so technically, and also what I wanted to mention, very interesting thing, we are preparing for this Venus-Saturn and Venus-Neptune conjunction. So the Venus-Neptune will be 7th of March, Venus-Saturn on the 8th of March. And yeah, we might remember that last year both Venus and Mercury Venus had triple conjunction with both Saturn and Neptune. The final one between Venus and Neptune was in a sign of Aries, and Mercury had a triple conjunction with Neptune, not with Saturn. There were only 2 conjunctions that were in Pisces for Neptune and Mercury. The third one was also in a sign of Aries, and also the triple conjunction to the nodes, which Mercury is obviously revisiting now with this retrograde triple conjunction to the nodes. So we have a lot of energy that is resetting, that got really strongly initiated last year. Now, obviously, what is Mercury and Venus? It's how we connect to reality, how we understand reality. Venus, the relational dynamics, current ruler of Uranus. Uranus is soon going to be ruled by Mercury because it's going to move into the sign of Gemini again at the end of April. So all of this is changing, and this is something that I had a very strong realization about, that what's really changing right now, it's we are re-evaluating everything. Like really what is changing is our relationship to ourselves, like how we value ourselves, how we are able to communicate it or understand it. And then that will be the key with Chiron moving to the sign of Taurus as of June. Obviously, we'll have the Chiron moving back into the sign of Aries in September. So with Chiron moving to the sign of Taurus, that will technically determine which next door will open, right? Because it's the key between Saturn and Uranus, and Saturn is in Aries. It's saying, well, you can go whichever way you want. Uranus is saying, well, soon to be moving into Gemini after completely took Taurus apart. It's saying, well, these things no longer hold a value. So now we have to choose something different. And it sounds all nice and dandy until it comes knocking on your door and it's like, what the hell? What is this? What did just hit us? So with this full moon in Virgo, which of course Virgo being the human journey, hero's journey, the embodiment of the spirit, having the human experience, coming here to learn and try to make things better than they were, better than we found in, make them more organized, efficient, whatever you want to call it. But technically what it means is just okay, we came here to create something new, we came here to create something different from what we were born into, progress the evolution, right? Take it to the next level. Of course, Mercury is the ruler of Virgo as well, still currently the ruler of the South Node, and Mercury, as I mentioned, is the upcoming ruler of Uranus again, and Mercury in Aquarius is exalted. So we are breaking the pattern. We currently, with this eclipse, that just played out and that we are still feeling the after effects of, the eclipse, also happening on the 12 degrees. 12 degrees is the final, is the Piscean number, and also the eclipse is happening on a Piscean decan, Cancer decan of the Pisces, So, and with Jupiter retrograde trining the Sun, it is, and sextile in the South Node and the Moon, it is still making us to reevaluate. I am not who I were. There are adjustments being made. What did you learn about yourself since August, since September, when these planets were first time in these new signs, then in September, there was Saturn back in the sign of Pisces. So what have we learned? What have we learned that, now with Saturn in Aries, it's saying that, okay, now it's time to create something new, to redefine these things, with Venus, like I said, coming into the conjunction with Neptune and Saturn very soon. There is the reset of the cycle that began last year when she had triple conjunction with both, and also Mercury and Venus, they are having 5 conjunctions, in a period of year and a half. So also Mercury and Mars, they have having 5 conjunctions. So there is a lot of opportunity to create a new direction in our own life and also in a collective. Obviously, we can see how the structures are crumbling, everything that previously we could rely on or think like, yeah, this is safe, you know, this is something that stand the proof of time, right? Like it's kind of like, it feels a little bit like the energy of 2020, you know, when we've been being like kind of shaken up and like, okay, well, you know, this held for so long, so it's reliable, you know, it's something that we can trust and stuff, and now all of that is going. And this is also the frequency of this Uranus, you know, ending the Taurus on this 29 degrees 47 27 47, 27 as 9 and 47 as 11. So like 9/11, right? You know, it's like it's time for us to really realize a lot of things. And as I mentioned, full moon is an illumination of something, like on a practical level. With Mercury being a sign of Pisces, these things are not necessarily understood, because, you know, Mercury in Pisces, they say this is in fall detriment, right? So you cannot really understand it logically. We cannot really understand things with our rational mind, you know, that is the archive of the past, because where we go in, the way the language is changing, the way of communicating, the way that we are going to be understanding things, making, like, connecting the dots, you know, making the connection, it's going to be very different. You know, the whole way of everything will change, and it's already changing. We are at the early stages of things changing, you know, alongside with things collapsing. There are new things that are being built, new things that are being created, new opportunities, new connections being created. And like I said, you know, with this Mercury, Venus, Mars, these triple conjunctions that are going on, triple conjunction, 5 conjunctions that are going on between Mars and Mercury and Venus and Mercury. And this is, you know, in a short span of time. I mean, with Mercury and Mars, this is like in a 6 months period. With Venus, that all started last spring. So, and you know, it will end in Scorpio season, when they have final conjunction in the sign of Scorpio for this like crazy round of conjunctions. So there are all these resets points, you know, conjunctions, new moons, they are resets point, you know, like also Mercury and Sun, you know, Mercury and Sun just had a conjunction, or no, they will have a conjunction again. This will be, let's see, this is going to be happening soon. Mercury and Sun conjunction. Oh yeah, they had, 7th of March. So in 4 days time, we're gonna have the Mercury Sun conjunction. We know Mercury and Sun, they conjunct very frequently. So when Mercury and Sun come together, it's obviously the Kazimi, the combustion, you can say, you know, but like what's really combusted is our logical mind. Like, okay, things are not what you think they were, they don't make the same sense, they don't have the same meaning, because of course Neptune being in a sign of Aries, you know, currently being the ruler of Mercury, because Mercury is in Pisces retrograde, and Mercury has its entire retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So, you know, like, yeah, you can look at it as a detriment, fall, whatever, but this is really attuning us to different language, you know, your own language, the language of your soul. So yeah, you know, with all of this, like, I mean, technically, you know, what we really going on there is like, you know, Pluto is sextile in Neptune and Saturn. Okay, this is not yet exact, but already in action. Also, Pluto is still in trine with Uranus. This is not yet exact. That's going to be taking place in summer. And Jupiter is trine in the Sun, sextile in the Moon. The exact trine between Sun and Jupiter hasn't happened yet, but it's already in action. So this is all supporting our expansion and evolution in understanding who we really are. So, you know, with the Virgo, as the Virgo archetype, the lived gnosis of the, you know, the experience, you know, the lived experience of human. It is not just information, it has to be lived, it has to be embodied, you know, Virgo as the earth element, and Mercury now being a sign of Pisces, so more of the spirit can become present, can come online. Everything is calibrating to a new expression. It's changing, and this is, like I said, preparation for this Uranus going back into the sign of Aries, sign of Gemini, and Chiron moving into the sign of Taurus, which will then give us, opens the key, you know, it will opens the key into manifesting of this, or bringing into manifested form these new portals that we are consciously or unconsciously choosing based on the relational dynamics, first and foremost towards yourself, because that's Taurus, that's the foundation, and then towards others. So yeah, I really feel that, you know, like just like without even the astrology or all the aspects or all the, you know, like symbols and stuff, like with everything that's been going on recently, you know, like one thing after another, you know, like with regards to geopolitical situations, you know, me being here in Vallarta, you know, and how the things, like I said, things that previously we rely on, we thought this is steady, you know, this is how it's always been, you know, this is safe, this is that, you know, all this label, that's all crumbling, you know, like nothing really is 100% guaranteed. You know, wherever you are in the world, you are equally safe and unsafe. You know, it doesn't really matter where you are. You know, things can happen everywhere. You can stay home, you can go out, you know, like the choice is yours. So we are really learning self-reliance. You know, we are learning, and like I said, what's really going on is a huge reevaluation. What really matters, you know, what really matters to me. You know, like I don't know how much time I have left. There are a lot of things in the world I cannot control. So how can I experience my life in the best way possible that is in alignment, in accordance with my values, and, you know, connect with people who share similar values, that you know, that's what brings the flavor into life, the relational dynamics, but not just, you know, any relationship, just bring me people so I'm not alone, you know, is the relationships that connect with your soul. You know, this is a time when soul tribes are coming together, and in order for us to connect with the right people, first we have to understand ourselves. So there are a lot of things that are being brought to the surface, and, you know, like, yes, it feels like already like we've been in a fire horse here forever, you know, like only 2 weeks. But things are happening so quickly, things are coming online, they're being processed, you know, like in my own personal experience, you know, in like 1 week, you know, like everything that's unresolved, everything that still needs work, you know, needs healing, adjusting, you know, everything became very obvious in like such a short period of time. So however this is showing up for you, you know, all these things that are helping you to understand, okay, yes, this is who I wear, you know, yes, it doesn't feel good anymore because it's not in alignment with my future self that already exists, that I'm already, you know, tuning into, and I feel a desire to become, even though I'm already dead, but I have not yet remembered, you know, I have not remembered my future self. So, you know, so all these situations, circumstances that being either triggered by, you know, people close to us or by the geopolitical situation and stuff are bringing to the surface the dense emotions that needs healing and transforming. So, you know, like for me being in Vallarta and having this experience, you know, you have a choice, you know, in everywhere, every place you live, there are things happening, I'm sure. And you have a choice. Do I choose to live my life through fear that, okay, well, you know, this is happening or this could happen, you know, so I am going to now put my life on pause, or I'm not gonna, you know, go ahead with whatever I want to do because I want to see what happens, you know, I want to see if I'm gonna, you know, like be hurt or something, you know. So like for me, you know, do I want to stay in? Do I want to go out? You know, what do I want to do? So this is really the choice. You know, am I choosing the fear? You know, am I choosing the denser emotions to rule my life? You know, things that I cannot control, or, you know, I acknowledge they there. You know, things can happen anywhere at any time, but I still choose to live the life the way I choose to live it, you know, and I take responsibility for it, you know, like, yeah, you know, things can happen at any point, anytime, you know, absolutely. Obviously not taking unnecessary risk and stuff, but not being like hiding, you know, hiding from life, hiding from growth, you know, just because, oh no, this could happen. So that's what I feel it's really, really illuminating and coming up for many of us, you know. It obviously Mercury in Pisces, retrograde, right? Neptune in Aries is forcing us, you know, the final conjunction between Mercury and Neptune and Venus and Neptune last year out of 3 happened already in Aries. So it's reminding us that no, we need to do things differently now. You know, this is not just about copy, paste, repeat the same thing. No, the same emotions might be reawakening us, but it is the opportunity, you know, to change the pattern, to break the pattern, to say, hold on a minute. Yeah, in a previous time I would respond this way. Maybe in 2020, you know, I would stay at home. Maybe I would comply. Maybe I would do the things as being told, you know. Now, like, no, hold on a minute. Do I want to choose again someone else to tell me what to do, how to rule my life? Because you know, things might or might not happen. And then obviously the more we focus on that unwanted, then more we give in the power, you know, the more it will become reality, because we put in our manifesting energy into something that we don't want, you know. The universe doesn't recognize do want or don't want, it just want, right? So this is what we are learning. We learn in the subtle language of the universe, and we learn in that, okay, how do I action with Mars in Pisces in this new way that is very untangible, is very intangible, is very like, I don't know, like this is like my favorite new word. I don't know, I don't know anything, it's literally like, even things that are, like, but sometimes things that I'm saying, things that I'm coming to me, like, I don't know, I just know, but I don't know how, I don't know, I don't even know if it's true, might not be true, I just, this is how I feel right here, right now. So that's what I mean, like, all of us with this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo are experiencing situations that are reminding us, like, who I wear now, does this feel good to keep being this way or responding this way? And if not, what other choice I can make? Choice, Mercury, and now Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So it's going through the same territory, that's already been through. So it's saying, okay, well, I can choose to respond to this now differently. I feel a little bit differently about the situation I've grown. So with the trine from Jupiter, to Sun and sextile to this South Node Moon conjunction, and obviously North Node with the Sun, we are resetting cycles. We are resetting cycles while old cycles are being illuminated to us, and we have the opportunity, and it was 2020, which is like clear vision. We have the opportunity, yes, to see things clearly, to see things differently, or at least, based on where am I right here, right now, and make a different choice, right? Make a different choice, even if maybe sometimes I cannot change things externally, because they're out of my control. I can create different routines, but still, like I said at the beginning of it, understanding that, well, not everything is my control. There are I want to record video. Okay, I'm not having a good day emotionally, I'm not in a high vibe, maybe I can't record video right now. Or I'm meant to do a collaboration, maybe that person is not feeling well. There are a lot of things, like, it's really forcing us to become very flexible and very resilient and nimble, like, no matter what's happening, okay, I'll just bounce back, it will be okay. So that's why I feel, for me, and I'm sure this is happening for many other people, like, we are being constantly bombarding with things that are discombobulating us, that are making us like, oh hell, like, constantly like being out of whack, either emotionally or, with the nervous system, stress, anxiety, whatever, and like constantly being like brought to this space, so it's like, okay, well, what can you do about it? How can you neutralize this energy? How can you not allow this energy to dictate your life? So it's like, it's about the regulation. How can I learn to regulate my nervous system? How can I master my emotion, my thoughts, and Virgo coming at it with practical tools, what can help me when I'm feeling this way? So that's what I feel, like, we are continuously being reminded that you do have a power, you do have a power to influence how you feel, how you respond. Yeah, you don't have a power to control the world, and, like, there are a lot of things that, what can you do, but we still have we still have much more power than we give ourselves credit for. So with this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, I feel a lot of this and much more is being illuminated. And obviously how you are experiencing it, it is unique to you, because in Aquarian age, and with Pluto in Aquarius, this is all about individuation and authenticity, right? Individuation and authenticity. Well, I mean, Pluto is in trine with Uranus. Is a white trine, but I mean, it is not exactly affecting the eclipse in any way, but still, Pluto is always active no matter what's happening. And obviously with Uranus, yeah, Uranus is pretty much in a little bit white sextile with Mercury, but kind of, and I mean, we have all these things like they're in a kind of big conjunction, Mercury, Venus, Neptune, Saturn, and Mercury is the ruler of this eclipse. But I mean, Mercury is retrograde, it's on the third decan of Pisces at the moment, 20 degrees, 29 minutes, so that is a Scorpio decan. So I feel a lot of what's going on, again, in your personal life or in the world out there is bringing up a lot of fear. And fear is the fear and judgment, obviously, and they're both connected. They are the things that stop our expansion, right? They limit us. So that's why I feel like we are being forced to face so much fear continuously, that we just become immune to it. That, yeah, yeah, this is aspect of life. Any of us can die at any point, you know, like any of us can succeed at any point. Any of us can, you know, experience beautiful things at any point. You know, it's a Russian roulette over here, isn't it? You know, it's a bag of tricks that we came here to experience as humans, you know, the whole the whole spectrum of experiences, you know, very diverse experiences. And with Mercury becoming the rule of Uranus again as of April, you know, I mean, there will be faster and faster access to different timelines. But like I said, you know, with the Chiron moving into the sign of Taurus, where you go, how fast you go, and what it will feel like depends on the inner work, you know, the Taurus, like how much I trust myself, how much I feel connected to myself, how much I feel I deserve, you know, did I go through all these fears, all this sense of insecurities, sense of inadequacy, you know, all these like dense emotions, guilt, shame, you know, all these things. So obviously, you know, shame and guilt, these are Virgo, you know, Virgo words. So perhaps that's another thing, you know, that's coming up for us, you know, especially with situation with people we care about. You know, do I choose me and what I feel that I need to do for myself? What is the right thing for me? It feels aligned, but somebody else might not think that because, you know, they are invested in the old version of ourselves and they say, oh, you're so selfish, or, you know, and then we go process that guilt and shame. Like, yeah, I'm putting myself first, you know, not to hurt you. I'm, you know, I'm obviously considering you, but you know, I have to do this for me, you know, because this is my key to my future, to do this growth, to do this healing, to do this whatever it takes, you know, and that needs time. That takes time and space, obviously, you know, with the Saturn, time and space, but also diligence, you know, discipline, determination. This is all the earth signs, you know, the Taurus, the Virgo, you know, the Capricorn. So having a full moon in Virgo, you know, there is nothing ever happening in separation. Just because there is a Virgo full moon lunar eclipse, it doesn't mean that all the other signs are doing nothing, right? And I mean, of course, full moon is an opposition, so we have Pisces activation too, but everything is everything. Everything is always connected. So again, how this is showing up for many of us is that is bringing to the consciousness, you know, illuminated for us. And again, it's not necessarily understanding, it's understanding. It's an inner sense of knowing, even though the brain can't necessarily comprehend it or explain it or label it or whatever. And it is connected to this like the language of your heart, the language of your soul coming online, and that is not logical, right? And this is something that is going to be the, you know, the one reliable thing to guide us in the upcoming times. So with Mercury retrograde being the ruler of this eclipse, through contrast, because, you know, Gemini also ruled by Mercury, there are a lot of things that are being understood, and then giving us the opportunity to potentially do things differently. Because, you know, the next new moon in Virgo will not be an eclipse, but there is one more eclipse next year, one more eclipse a year from now. So we haven't quite finished with the Virgo eclipses just yet, but in summer we'll have the Leo new moon solar eclipse, not the Virgo one, and then of course the Pisces full moon lunar eclipse, which will be the final one in Pisces. So we're not quite done yet with these learning lessons of Virgo Pisces that are the macro reflection, you know, whatever the collective is going through, we are experiencing our personal life, and whatever experience in our personal life is always in some way, shape and form playing out on the collective stage as well. So with all that said, I'm gonna leave it at these 27 minutes and a change, and I'm gonna pull some cards because like I said many times in the previous videos, there is not really much to be said anymore, you know, even though half an hour talking, right? But there is not much to be said because the past patterns, the past way of these energies manifesting, it's not going to be playing out the same way, and it's not going to be experienced the same way for everyone. So that's why, you know, it's like, well, you know, this is what I think, this is what I go through, whatever, but it's going to be something completely different for you, you know. But what is connecting us is the energy of this. Everything that is not an alignment and no longer serves, it's being experienced as the unwanted, as the contrast, and through that the old emotion can leave you know, can be experienced again through the experience that doesn't feel that great, you know, that awakens these emotions, these dense emotions again, like fear, guilt, shame, you know, all this kind of stuff. And then a new choice can be made, you know, when we somehow, work in progress for me, learn to override, you know, that pattern, you know, we learn to raise above it, you know, that yeah, I am aware of this, I acknowledge it, but I am choosing to now do something different with it. I am going to feel differently about it, and I'm going to respond differently, and then a whole pattern will break and change, you know, like the Aquarius grows through Virgo and Cancer, right? The inconjunctions, the two inconjunctions. This is how the Aquarius is conjunct, you know, like letting go of the old sense of self, right? The ego identities, and the Virgo, you know, South Node is in Virgo. We're not going to be doing things how we've done them if they don't work, if they create this result. We're going to do something differently. But what we're going to do is a work in progress. So let's see, with the Queen of the Moon, what is the energy that wants to be acknowledged for this Virgo full moon lunar eclipse? The unexpected, number 7, and today actually adds up to number 7, the free portal plus 1, the year 10, the 1, and also number 7, expect the unexpected. Here we go, 43. Yeah, so you know, when the higher self is in charge, and I mean, we're still in a Pisces season, so the veil is very thin. You cannot control it. You know, we think that we control in our life, we don't really, but I mean, you know, that's like, we are not behind the driving wheel, but now a lot of that is really becoming illuminated to us that, okay, you know, there are things that happened, and then I want to see, oh, it was a miracle, that's great. And there are things that happened that we didn't enjoy so much, and that's like, oh, karma, you know, blah, blah, blah. But actually all of it is your higher self in charge. So the unexpected, you know, like, and also it's interesting because this card always reminds me of labradorite, you know, the color of labradorite. That's my favorite crystal. Over here, you can't really, here we go. This one is more blue, but I mean, you got labradorites that are more like yellow, right? Here you go. It's more like the shade labradorite. So yeah, you know, and labradorite is for the third eye and the throat chakra. Also, it's got green in it, so I'm sure for heart as well. So this also, like, I look at it as a looking glass, you know, like through the heart we connect into, like, as I said, you know, the future self and the current self, it already exists. So it's like, you know, us like lean on me, you know, the higher self knows where we're going. We're looking into the future that you cannot see, you know, what it is. But, you know, with the third eye, we can connect. With the throat, we can communicate. And with the heart, you know, the heart is the unconditional love of the universe. It's not the human love. So we have with the 7, the higher learning, very spiritual number. And you can see like a 2 full moons in there. Blue moon, yeah, blue moon, two full moons. And I know we are going to have that happening at some point this year. There are going to be 3 lunations in the same month and then release. This card has been coming up a lot recently. You see all the butterflies, and this is a 27, and we know Uranus is currently on the 27 degree, releasing, you know, the attachment to the form that lost meaning, that lost value. You know, this doesn't matter anymore. You know, yes, I invested myself, you know, I spent a long time studying this, whatever, and now it's like, okay, what are we shedding, what are we releasing, because we already looking into a different portal, in a sense. You know, the future self and the current self, you allowing the future self to guide you into this new version, this new portal. So yeah, releasing. What are we releasing in order to become a frequency match to this other thing? You know, the unexpected. Uranus going to the next level as the ruler of Aquarius, as the ruler of Pluto, right? Saturn in Aries, which is, you know, the new beginning. So release in order for the space to be created. For once in a blue moon, once in a lifetime, you know, that's what I've been saying over and over. This is an experiment. It hasn't happened like this way before. This is an experiment for humanity. You know, like, how can we transform the way of being on the planet Earth without completely, you know, erasing everything and starting all over again? that ain't happening this time, you know, but we are in the, you know, we are in the transition, and it is not easy because we are here to embody frequencies that currently are alien to us. So we're going through this process, you know, and there is a lot of unexpected that's happening to help us to get there, and not all is perceived as wanted or desired, because it doesn't feel good, because what feels good is the familiar, which is the past. Okay, let's see what the sun wants to tell us about the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo energy. Okay, resilience, yeah, we becoming resilient, that's I think obvious to everyone. Number 3, and today is the 3-3 portal, creation, co-creation. And it's interesting because there's a lot of bamboo in here. We know bamboo is very resilient. It's got a lot of longevity. You know, we know that bamboo doesn't really start growing until the roots are super strong. And then it's like springs out very quick and starts gaining the strength and thickness. And then we have recovery. Recovering your fire. You know, it's interesting. These two like have like a circle, you know, the higher self help, and even this is like in a circle. She's kind of in a circle, in a portal. So through all of these experiences we are going through, we are recovering our fire, we are recovering our connection. You know, this is number 15. Number 6, the choice. Today is 3-3, you know, 3-3, the Christ consciousness, heartfelt consciousness, right? And it's the day number 7, the higher learning. What are we learning? We're learning to connect to these frequencies that are beyond our understanding. So you can see this person's eyes are closed, you know, she doesn't understand it logically, she's tuning into something, you know. It's like she's raising from the ashes, she's raising from the water. We all came from the water, we were all born in the water, you know, the mother's womb, right? The water. So it's like through all of these emotions that, you know, with Jupiter still in Cancer, still retrograde, you know, connected to every lunation, we are becoming reborn. We're learning to nurture and reparent ourselves and reconnect with our fire, you know, becoming resilient. So the unexpected can happen, and it's a miracle because the release is happening. All right, we have that. And then I'm gonna use the mystical shaman. I'm not gonna use the gateway of the light today. I'm gonna use the oracle of portal in connection of the 3-3 portal, but I wanted to use a different light deck, but you know, mystical shaman always wants to speak when there are big energies. So let's see what this card wants to tell us with regards to the guidance of the elder, the wiser, the shamans, the ancestors. Because Virgo is those who walk the earth, you know. At the moment it's us, but you know, we are here on the shoulders of those that were here before, standing on the shoulders of those that were here before, surrounded by their spirit. All right, we have a jumper, 2 jumpers, medicine wheel and the wild woman. Oh wow, and look, you got all the animals of all the directions, right? Medicine wheel, there is the jaguar, there is the snake, there is the eagle, and the hummingbird is at the top. The 35, you know, 35 is the number of Saturn, about 3 and 5, you know, that's like 3, you know, expansion, 5, the chaos, and you know, the 8 is the Saturn number, is the Saturn and Jupiter, the manifested form. And then here we got another 62, another 8, wild woman. Yeah, we are rewilding, you know, and this like medicine wheel, we are in the year of the wheel of fortune, the year 10, it's perfect, the wheel of fortune. You know, we are transforming into something different. We are embodying the medicine of the ancestors, the wisdom of the ancestors to help us and support us in co-creation of the new cycle. And you know, the hummingbird makes us to be present, enjoy the life, you know, enjoy the here and now. With the medicine woman, yeah, embodying the divine feminine, you know, this is like a Gaia. You can see there is a tree on her head. The divine feminine rising, but it's not necessarily divine feminine as the female sex, you know. This is the energy of the receptivity, the connection to all that is, you know, receptivity, faith, trust, honoring oneself and honoring others. So we are in the year where we are embodying the medicine. The snake year is finished, but the medicine remains. Many of us were being stung in the last year, by many situations, people's circumstances, and we had the opportunity to shed, become strong, have the hindsight, the seeing it from the higher perspective. So here we go, Rivaldin. And at the bottom we have upper world. Yeah, we are being really protected, really supported. 59, so this adds up to number 5. Through this chaos, and disruptions, distortion. Also it's all blue, maybe a lot of lies, a lot of, haze, a lot of illusions. Like all of that, we are forced to connect to the world that is not this world, right? We asking for support, help, and the world, and it's here to support us, the wisdom of the ancestors, the upper world, everything in the spirit realm is here to help us, to guide us, just like with these guys, lean on me, I'm here for you. Releasing, becoming something different. Rewilding, the wild woman, the divine feminine rising, allowing and embodying the gifts available to us, the medicine wheel, yeah, the reset, and we can see there is an arrow pointing upwards. Yeah, I'm going to read about this medicine wheel. Let me see. I prepared the medicine wheel number 35. That one really strikes me as very important. So I'm going to actually use the booklet for this one. So yeah, it says the essence. The medicine wheel is a sacred hoop with the 4 cardinal directions well marked. It represents the cycle of life, the cycles of nature, and the circular pattern of our cosmos. It has been used for millennia in indigenous cultures to bring harmony and well-being to the village. Its directions symbolize the 4 steps the shaman takes to become a person of power and wisdom. The invitation to manifest clear blue skies. Clear blue skies. In your life, it is important that you take a look at certain aspects of your being. Enter the medicine wheel from the south and reflect on how you are still clinging to the events from the past. Continue to the west and notice which relationships are toxic and drain your energy. Step into the north and ask yourself, do I know my passion, and show it? And at the east direction, visualizing how you want to live the next chapter of your life. It is up to you how much time you spend in each direction, minutes, days, or month. But when you are done, make sure to step outside the wheel and contemplate your journey. The medicine, you must not postpone your healing journey any longer. It can be difficult to start, but you must find the inner strength to step into medicine wheel, or you might lose your opportunity. There are many ways and many paths. Choose the one that you resonate most with. Once you have found it, the only mistake you can make is not to follow it. Go boldly. All right, I think that's a really good message, So yeah, in order to create this new world, the blue skies, we have to take responsibility for what it is that is holding us back, right? That's why it's the release point. I mean, the nodes are still in the Pisces Virgo until end of July, and we are becoming resilient through the process. All right, now let's switch to the free portal energy. I wanted to pull some cards for this, so I guess it's divinely timed that I couldn't record this video any earlier. So free is always about creation, co-creation, expansion, with Venus ruled Empress, the number 3 in Major Arcana. It gives an opportunity for something new to be born, the earth, the new earth. Free is the 33, the Christ consciousness, or the heart consciousness, the universal love, which is not the love we understand. It is non-judgmental, it's like you have a free will's choice, you're gonna be loved by your higher self, by the God, by the universe, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, you are inherently loved because you come from the source, right? And then the six, the choice, you know, the choice, like what choices do I make that create more harmony and balance in my life? You know, again, the Venus, you know, the number 3 is associated with Jupiter expansion. The 6 is associated with Venus. We know that Venus is in this closing phase with both Neptune and Saturn. Saturn, Neptune in a new phase, you know, they started a new cycle. And, you know, and this is going to, with Venus in Aries, bring more awareness of the new values, of the new reasons. You know, why am I here? What am I doing this for? What is driving me? And with Mars being in Pisces, again, it's not going to come from the logical mind. Mercury in Pisces, you know. So again, Yogini of 284, number 14, chaos, number 14, healing, right? The temperance. So yeah, so and today all together adds up to number 7, which of course we have the Chariot card, which is the Cancer. And like I mentioned, this eclipse is happening on the Cancer decan of Pisces for Sun, and with the Virgo is the Capricorn, you know, the Capricorn decan of Virgo. So this is redefining who you are, you know, taking responsibility for the new versions of yourself, taking responsibility for the old versions of yourself. And because you are becoming the conscious creator of reality, you know, your own authority, then yeah, I'm the only one who can change it. I'm the only one who can set these boundaries or change the boundaries or whatever I'm doing, you know. So there is a lot of ownership, like I own my life, I take my space, you know, I stand behind my values, behind myself, you know. It's like this strength in oneself, you know, because if I'm not strong in myself, then, you know, like whatever wind is gonna blow, it's, you know, it's gonna blow me in the direction. So anyway, so let's see about this free portal that we are experiencing today. What is the best guidance? Free portal 2026. Okay, here we go. Karma of Katuhala. That looks to me kind of like a phoenix rising, but I'm gonna read the main. Oh, 43, number 7. Okay, that's a good confirmation. And that is like the unexpected. That was 43. And at the bottom is the magnetism of Eros. This card has been coming up so much last year, which is about, you know, technically this card is saying what you want wants you, you know, what you desire wants, what desires you, you know, the number 1. Create from the place of, you know, heart, passion, you know, whatever you want to experience, whatever you feel passionate about. So let's see about this karma of Katuhala. So that is 43, as I mentioned, right? 43. I'm just gonna read the very first description because it is a lot of verbiage with Alana Fairchild, which, you know, it's already a long video anyway. So anyway, 43. Here we go. Okay, so your sacred soul, here we go, this one. Your sacred soul passion is powerful enough to shift the state of your inner reality and your outer experience. So commit to what truly ignites your heart and do not be disulted by anything or anyone. If you know that word, good for you. I don't. If you are seeking to make a commitment, do so when it truly connects to your heart. Follow your genuine, meaningful bliss. Know that no matter what appears to be, you shall prevail. You shall arise. And Kutuhala in Sanskrit term translate as that which excites wonder. Even if it doesn't seem like it will lead to anywhere practical, following our bliss can allow for something beautiful and deeply fulfilling to unfold. The shadow side or unconscious pursuit of Kutuhala is seen when we chase our bliss in such a way that nothing genuine ever gets a chance to mature. Commitment that emerges of true Kutuhala is not about clipping one's wing, but about growing them and learning how to fly skillfully. So can relate to those times when you are just discovering the path, feeling inexplicably fascinated by something and are encouraged to explore just what the true natures of that fascination could be. This oracle encourages you to recognize that in its own inimitable way, spirit is practical. It's just practical. Virgo, right? Anyone? It just tends to go via the deliriously rapturous, astonishingly and deeply healing route. Trust what you love and let your heart lead you. You and your life shall become luminous, sanctified in the grace of alchemical transformation. An unexpected and miraculous arising is at hand. I mean, come on. The unexpected. All right. I think they're just perfect. And all right, with the Eros, the first card of this deck. Jesus, how much verbiage is here. 50 pages in, and it's still just the explanation. Okay, magnetism of Eros. So here we go. That's number 1, the year we in. Trust in what your heart yearns for without concern about how it will manifest. Take steps towards that which moves your heart. Reach out for what your soul wants and needs. Allow yourself to be vulnerable, for only then can you be truly held. That which appears out of reach or unavailable to you is closer than you realize. I mean, these are good news, guys. Good news. Just about the Taurus, right? Allowing us to receive and allow ourselves to want what we actually want. Okay, Oracle of Portals. Let's see about the portals. Portal of free. There is a bunch of cards just came out. Oracle of free 2026, please. Free 2026. What is the best guidance for these days? The day of creation. The celebration, okay, well, Spirit thinks there is a reason to celebrate. Number 40, for the structure, the old structures are ending, I think this is, look, it's all purple. So I feel that the Spirit is celebrating us. That's what I really think, looking at this card, look. And there is a big ass full moon over there. So, the Spirit is celebrating us, because you might think, like, oh my God, my life sucks. Like, I'm, what's going on with me? What's going on with the world, But like the Spirit is like, yeah, they're right on track. The fire is igniting. Look at that. And if necessary, things are being burned down, right? And then at the bottom is future. Number 4, another number 4. You determine your future. You see, the future is in your hand. The future is in your hand. I mean, it's been said all here. Yeah, the Spirit is supporting us. Everything is available. The medicine of the ancestors. We have the opportunity to leave the past, leave the past in the past, release, right? But, at the same time, this all is making us resilient, able to face whatever's coming next. I just pulled the card pleasure, so that's pretty good going. Self-love, yeah, perfect, like that's where the key is, Chiron in Taurus, soon to be. So the future truly is in your hand. Look, she's in front of the portal, right? Number 4, the structure of your reality. Saturn moving into Saturn is already in Aries, but Saturn in a new phase conjunction with Neptune in the sign of Aries. And yeah, no matter what you do or don't do, you are being celebrated either way, because it takes guts to come here to planet Earth, forget everything and just be in this state of amnesia and trying to live our best life, forgetting who we really are. So yeah, we are in the process of remembering right now, and all these unexpected situations are reminding us that don't worry, there's something out there that has your back. So I guess that's all good. All right, let's just find a card, the Major Arcana. Major Arcana for this free portal solar lunar eclipse in the Virgo sign, apparently blood moon. So let's see what this Virgo full moon lunar eclipse has in store for us going forward. All right, I'm just gonna pick one. Justice, perfect. Balancing of the old, number 11, master number frequency. So things are, it is a full moon, which is an opposition. So like I said, a lot of things are being illuminated in order to be balanced, a lot of red. Again, it's, activating our base chakra, the sense of fear, the sense of how will I survive, what will happen to me, what's happening to the world. But, there are things that are actually being evened up, like she holds the sword, just like Archangel Michael, it's we are able to release ourselves from things by going through things. And then interesting enough, we have Hierophant. They are very similar looking, aren't they? And Hierophant is the number 5, and it is the Taurus card. So it's again about the foundation. You are learning about your own power, which is the foundation which you came here to create, from the place of self-worth, knowing who I am, knowing what I can do, remaining humble, because obviously none of this is really in my control. I don't know any of this, everything is temporary. and you are here to create future, you know, your own future, and therefore a future for everyone else around you and the world at large. So yeah, all right guys, I'm gonna leave it at that. 53 minutes, that's a number 8, that's good enough. Yeah, once again, so as I mentioned at the beginning, because this video is coming out so late, I'm gonna keep my sale, my eclipse sale, running until the end of the week. So if you would like to connect, if you would like to book a reading with me or my husband Aaron or both of us, you know, this alchemical metamorphosis process where we support you together, then do so through my website moonlightsoul369.com. And if you're still watching, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for supporting my work and my channel. And yeah, I recently recorded video for Lada's channel with Aaron. So if you would like to hear more about the eclipses, you can find the video on Lada's channel. And also we will eventually, I don't know which day because can't plan anything these days, we'll record another episode of Sunlight Soul when we will pull cards on this particular lunation. So stay tuned for that. And with that, I wish you all a wonderful rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of the eclipse season, and I'll speak to you again soon. Much love everyone, and bye for now.